It's Nikki. How you doing? This is part one of a two-part series. And I thought that I would share, even if the actual thing that I did is not relevant for you or doesn't work for you. But I'm really interested in what the process did. So, lots of coaches out there, lots of internet people always talk about the power of investing in yourself and committing and consistency and all of that. And today, Monday, the 3rd of October, marks 6 months since I began going to hot yoga again. And the hot yoga studio that I go to requires a 6 month contract, a 6 month commitment. And that was perfect for me because it's so easy not to go, not to do the thing because someone or something always needs you. I'm a busy mum, I'm a busy business person. I'm here, there, and everywhere. And I know that sometimes days, weeks, months, they can just gallop away from me. And you may be thinking this as well, like, whoa, we're in October already? How did that happen? And I wanted to talk through this process because also what we can find is the good intentions might be there, but actually following through or even continuing into month one or month two, it can be really, really difficult. And what can happen even before we begin the process, we can tell ourselves all the reasons why we shouldn't do the thing or why it may not be possible for us. And ultimately, what I want you to do is to do the thing, whatever that thing might be. But you might have to set some new ground rules for yourself and to work through your own preparation before you sign up. And for most people online talking about this, they say just sign up, just make your first payment and you'll figure it out later. And for me, and for many others, I would prefer to do it the other way around, where I do the process first. So by the time I say yes to the dress, no, yes to the contract or yes to the commitment, I know that I'm going to get my return on investment because I've done that work previously. So here's what happened. We moved in March and I began on April the 4th. And I even had like 3 or 4 weeks where I was walking past the hot yoga studio, like it's literally 5 minutes from my house, and I pass it on the way to the supermarket, to the bus stop, to like it's winking at me. Or sometimes if I let it, it's kind of going, oh right, so you said you would come in, Nikki. Haven't seen you. Are you in? Are you not? What are you doing? What's going on? And I know that I'd had previous success with it before because I had been a member previously. And then, COVID, I had another baby. It just wasn't, well, I was going to say it wasn't a priority, but that is not strictly true. It wasn't something that I felt I had capacity to do. Anyway, we got the move out of the way and I thought, come on now, let's do this thing. And so that might be the first lesson for you where you've been thinking about this thing for a long time. And I believe that when we have those things in our body, when they are within us and we can't stop thinking about them, we have to give them our attention. Even if it is, you might be thinking, well, I've always wanted to go to a Zumba class. I feel like I'd like to try that. You may go to your first Zumba class and go, actually, the reality is not what I thought it would be. But you have to at least try because actually taking the action is what's going to give you the answers in terms of moving forward. And whether it's a yes, whether it's a no, you're going to get more answers. And so getting to that point where you can make a decision and say, all right, I'm going to give this a go, is quite a process sometimes. But also working on this thing of, if you are having the desire, if you are having the, I quite fancy having a go at that, I often think there are so many things that I don't have that about. Like, I've never really had the urge to drive a tractor. I've never gone, God, I really fancy doing that. I've never really had the urge to do a bungee jump. And I haven't wanted to explore that. So if you flip it on the other side, you can see that there are so many things that you don't necessarily want to do or have the urge to do, etc. So here's what happened. Let's get to the juicy bit. Number one, it gave me a real sense of where I was right at the beginning. And so many of us, in the pursuit of working on our next chapter, we don't necessarily want to look at where we are. But if you can, you're going to get so much information with your starting point. So sometimes people might say, like, I really want to set a big money goal, but I don't want to look at my bank account. Or I want to begin a business, but I'm a bit scared of Googling things because I don't want to fill in a form, or whatever it might be. And that first time that I sat on that mat, the first thing that I didn't realize was how much emotion and baggage I had in my body. And the first few weeks that I went, if you've practiced yoga before, you do the Shavasana at the end, which is basically the lying down bit where you just go into meditation or you go quietly. And then a teacher will usually say, okay, roll onto your right, slowly come up to sitting and take a deep breath and all of that sort of stuff. And they close the practice. The first couple of weeks that happened, when I came up to sitting at the end, my eyes were literally just streaming with tears. Streaming, like I couldn't, it just had to come out. And there was a part of that process that I just thought, oh my goodness, I didn't realize how much stuff I was holding on to. And when you see the reality of the situation, it can bring up other emotions as well. And so giving yourself that time and space for something to be worked through and to maybe leave your body like this emotion did is a really great place. So going back to that money goal example, if you're wanting to make those moves, you have to untangle those patterns or those circumstances or what's been going on up until now, so you know exactly where you're starting. They always say, don't they, when you are putting a sat-nav into the sat-nav, you're putting a postcode in. You have to know where you're starting from. And so when you're coming to make these big decisions and maybe you're ready to go, I need to do this right now, be kind, be gentle, and give yourself the permission to look and see where you are. And sometimes it might be that you want to do it with your eyes closed because it's a bit overwhelming. And going back to being a learner and being a beginner can, again, sometimes bring up all the feels because maybe you're a high achiever. Maybe you're like, no, but I just get on with things. I can do that. Giving yourself as much grace and kindness is really, really key. I guess to the second part of that, I really needed a safe space to do that work. And there's something about that studio that I just love because nobody needs anything from you. You literally put your wallet, your phone into a locker and you can just go and be on the mat. And you can work through pretty much the whole process without saying a word to anybody if you don't want to. So you say your name when you go in and then you just do your practice and leave. And when people are working through those moments, maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're going all in, maybe you're making some big moves, make sure that you have those safe spaces to be nurtured, to be seen, to be acknowledged. Even if it's a pal just going, yeah, I see you. Yeah, here we are again. And I see friends at the studio quite often. And sometimes we don't even need to do the small talk of like, hi, how's your day? Sometimes we just give that like smile to somebody like, yeah, I see you. Here we are again. Let's do this, etc. Number 2, let's talk about the money. It's a really key part of it. And I don't know why people talk about it as being like this secondary thing or this like afterthought thing. Money is very real. It's really, really real. And you need to be responsive to it and take care of it and make really good decisions for you. So when I made this investment, it was £750, which is significant. So it's £125 a month, and that is unlimited. It's also across 3 studios, and but I don't use the other 2 studios. I just literally use the one that I use, and because I go so regularly, I really get the benefits from it. And I was speaking earlier this week about the power of a golden paragraph. So allowing yourself to really check in and ask yourself why you're doing this thing that you're doing. And so some of the things that I came up with, which justified the investment, I looked at the cardio. I knew I would get strength. I knew I'd get flexibility, quiet time, reflection time. I would be nurturing my nervous system, which I think was a bit out of whack. I would be taking care of my hormones in the heat, that sense of community, that sense of purposeful self-care, time out. And I also realized I was really looking for a challenge. I didn't feel like I was in a place where I was, wow, we're going really honest, aren't we? Where I felt like I was friends with my body at that time. And this is obviously a work in progress, and it's not about size or anything like that. But you know yourself when you're like, yeah, I feel like there's a better version of how I feel right now. And I just wasn't in that headspace. And I'm not saying 6 months in, like perfection, not at all. But I definitely feel stronger, more flexible, and more in my body. I think that's really noticeable sometimes for me, where my body can feel like a stranger and I don't have that connection with it. And that's what I really wanted to bring into it. And so what I started to do was I looked at that 750 quid and I divided it. So it's a monthly payment that I pay. And every single class, I worked out the calculations. So even when I had done my first 6 classes, I was thinking in terms of that big number of the 750, like, right, okay, I'm now at £125 per class. And obviously, as I've gone down and down and down, the per class investment has significantly dropped. And I think I'm now up to about £7 a class, which is very, very reasonable for hot yoga and London prices and all of that. And that was really interesting for me because knowing those calculations, knew when I needed to make some moves or get some momentum or go, right, okay, I need to crack on with this thing. I need to really think about this. And this could be a moment for you when you're thinking about earning more or going to the next level or opening a new chapter, or maybe you need to sign up for a course, or you want to do something that will require you making some money decisions. Do those calculations. Think about how many things you have to sell in order to do that thing, and really begin to make friends with that pricing conversation. I'm realizing based on the time of this is a 4-part, not a 2-part. So I'm going to leave part 1 here. And I will see you in part 2, where I will carry on with the story. I am sending lots of love. If you do want to go over to my shop, 3 of my online courses are now £100 each. So do check them out. Go to nikiraby.com/shop. I'll see you in part 2.